Okay, well, welcome to day two of Administrative Professionals Week. And I just want to give everyone a chance to jump on and then also to make sure that we are not having any issues with hearing. So want to give you a chance to jump on and then also let me know if you can hear us here. I'm very excited about today's session. We will be talking about self-care in the workplace. And I have a very special guest that I already have up because I'm so excited to have her here. So we'll do a introduction, but want to give everybody a chance to jump on the live here. So just give you one moment here. I'm going to also share this because we want to make sure that we are sending this out to everyone. So let's see here. All right. All right. And looks like we're having some audio issues, but let's see how we can do this here. So give us just 1 second, you guys. 1 second.
I can hear you now.
Oh, yes. I'm not sure what happened, boy, when I tell you, I'm excited that you can hear me. All right. So let's get okay. All right. So wonderful. We're gonna go ahead and get started.
Okay.
And I want to first I really wanted to share this. So give me 1 second because I want to be able to share it. 1 second.
Let me share it out.
All right. All
All
shared,
right.
guys, we have a phenomenal day that we want to start off today. So I want to give you just a little bit of background of what's happening today. Number one, this is day two of the Administrative Professionals Week. Celebrate you. You
Yay.
know, I know, right? Woohoo! And we are like Admin Pros Day Eve today. So very excited. Not sure what's going on because my camera is like I'm to one side. Okay, there we go. Um, but so very excited. Yesterday we talked about celebrating you, and today we are talking about taking care of you. So one thing about administrative professionals that we all know is we are responsible for taking care of everyone. So I am so very excited to have our special guest today that's going to share with us how, although we're taking care of everyone else, how do we take care of ourselves too? Because you can only pour out how much you have. So let me just give you a bio so you understand who this powerhouse is that we have with us today, okay? So Angela D. Holmes is the owner of Angela Unlimited LLC. She is the founder of arisingwoman.org, which is she's an empowerment strategist and mentor, helping broken women become powerful women. She is a 24-year federal employee helping social and emotionally distressed veterans and a San Francisco native. All right, California. So San Francisco native and a mother of three beautiful adult children. Listen, I want you all to help me give a very big round of applause. I know we're all virtual, but we can still give a clap to Angela D. Holmes, who is going to share with us today how to take care of ourselves as we give out to others. So welcome, Angela. I'm so happy to have you here today, and just thank you for the opportunity to be able to sit down with you and really learn from you, as you are a phenomenal wellness coach, and just, in addition to that, just a wonderful woman all around. So very welcome to have you here. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so very much. Such a beautiful introduction, but the honor is all mine. I am honored to be here. I'm honored to serve your community and to serve you. And yes, this topic is such a great topic. It's a hot topic, but it's a needful topic because once we get finished today, I know that your community is going to walk away with something tangible. So I'm here to serve. I'm honored. You all ask all the questions you need to ask and put your seatbelt on because we're gonna go for a little ride.
All right. I love it. I love it. So, I think that we have some pretty meaty things here. So let's just go ahead and get started. Again, as you come on and if you ask questions, I'll be following the chat so we can see your questions and we want to be able to go ahead and get them in. But just starting out, can we just start off by defining what self-care is?
I think that would be kind of broad. Some Everyone would have their pretty much their own answer. I think the number one thing that everyone would say is me. They would start off with me. Self-care could be just going for a long drive. Self-care could be getting a massage. For some people, self-care is actually it's tangible, going out shopping. But we all know that that's a different type of self-care. They call it a self-care, but it's really covering up something else. I told y'all to put your seatbelt on. So defining self-care, it would have to be an individual thing. But number one, self-care would start with your emotions. It starts in the mind. That is the boom of self-care. No other types of self-care or what you feel is self-care is really going to benefit you if it does not start on the inside. So it's what I call the inner game. So your inner game has to be able to overflow into your outer game.
The inner game and the outer game.
Outer game.
Yeah. You can't, Angela, you can't start off with just like that. You already hit us real good in the side. The inner game versus, I love that. The inner game versus the outer game. Okay. Tell us a little bit more about the inner versus the outer.
Well, not so much versus, it's that your self-care, we can do all these external things. As females, we can really think of some stuff. We can buy some great facial cleansers, moisturizers. We can buy the best conditioners and shampoos for our hairs. We can even buy hair, add hair, take away hair, cut hair, color hair, do all we need to do to our external. And we can call that self-care, which it is a form of it, but it should not be first. The first self-care should be you, our mental state. We can't help or serve anybody if our state is off.
Yeah. So, and I appreciate that because I think when and I know we'll get to that. And actually, I'm going to jump to it now. In the corporate world, we're always told, we're on stage, right? Yeah. And so I know that I'm not the only one who has been told, when you come to work, you kind of leave your personal things on the outside and you walk through those doors and you're on stage, give everyone your best. But the truth of the matter is you're a person, right? Yeah. And so you could have been dealing with all kinds of things. And actually, I think with COVID, there were a lot of things that kind of uncovered, where people didn't have maybe healthy homes and didn't feel okay with working from home, right? Working from home was actually like more of a, almost like you're on punishment rather than coming to work with their getaway, from the trauma that was at home. And so for others that thought, oh, I'm so glad to work from home, it's like, no, this is horrible. I get away, And so when we're told to be on stage with all of that that's happened, how do we balance our personal life without letting it drift into our work life, especially again, for those that are working from home and maybe that home life is not, that paradise that most people see on the outside or think it is on the outside.
Yeah, balancing that personal life and not bringing it into the office, regardless of what's going on. Again, it goes back into the inside. It goes back into that inner game. Because if we are not on top of our emotions, we react, we respond, we do according to, it's a memory process. we can have something going on at home and we can get just, let's just say if we were to go into the office and we could get in the office and a situation in the office could remind us of something that we're dealing with at home.
Right.
So we're only going to respond or react to what we have experienced.
Mhm.
That is our driving force. So dealing with you, dealing with your emotions, dealing with whatever that hard thing is, hitting it head on, not masking it, not getting to the office, because that term that said, when you get to the office, you're on. So
Mhm.
how about you stay on all the time so that then there's no masking. So then you won't have those challenges.
Mhm.
Your experience at home actually it could be a push forward. Okay, I've handled this. I've handled dealing with, you could have a person in your home that's a narcissist. It could be a spouse, it could be a child, it could be a
Mhm.
parent, it could be a neighbor. You can have that experience once you go into the office. Your boss could be a narcissist,
Mhm.
your coworkers, the cubicle
Mhm.
on that side and that side, and you would know how to handle it. So you wouldn't be pulling all of what you're dealing with into the office. And then what I call having a collateral damage day that a
Mhm.
lot of people can have when they're in office. So you have to deal with your inner game. You have to deal with that inner man,
Yeah.
because that is the only way that you are going to be able to handle outside of the home, in the office, the grocery store, at the gas station, whatever it may be. It really shouldn't be a difference. There
Mhm.
shouldn't be the hat and the mask thing.
Right.
So self-care would lead us into a place to where we're dealing with all this, that we're not putting on the mask and the hat and all that. I had a whole bunch of them. I had them on the shelf. This mask for today, put on this hat, these glasses, gonna deal with
Mhm.
telling you I was an expert. So, but when I started to deal with me, I was able to serve better.
And you know what? I love the piece. I can tell already that um, Cubicle Connections will be looking for you again because but I love the piece that you said, it's switching the issues that I have going on at home
Mhm.
and turning that into really my training ground,
Yeah.
which almost, if I'm hearing you correctly, I could also use those same situations that are going on in the workplace as training ground when I come home. Because regardless, it sounds like situations are going to be in our life regardless. So if we're learning from them, then we're able to say, no, it's not like I can't. Because sometimes, you can kind of feel like, well, I can't, what they say, win for losing, right? I
Right.
can't win for losing. I have trouble at home. I have trouble at work. But it's like, no, 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 no. Wherever that trouble is, learn from that, and then you can use it if you see it in another place. And I love that twist. Like I
Yeah.
always say, call me Pollyanna, because if I need to try to be as optimistic as possible. And I love that twist there. So even as admins, some are privileged to have their own office space, and you can kind of, I remember in a particular position I did have, I have my own office a couple times in different positions, but I would, if I needed to really, you know, bear down and get some things done, or if I needed a moment, then I would put a sign on my door, let everyone know, and I could close my door.
Yeah.
And that's a privilege, right? But
Hmm.
when you are working like in a different area where it's all cubicles
Mm,
and you don't
yeah.
have the ability to close the door, and you could be working on something. So even as you're how do you deal with those interruptions where you do need a moment, right? Maybe you just got out of a meeting and maybe you could be frustrated about something that happened, or you walk in and you're trying to, I got to handle it. I'm not going to wear a different hat. But how do you deal with it where you can take a moment to just kind of breathe, and then service your customer, whoever that is, that's right in your face, and you can't close the door and say, give me a moment. They're right there and they need something right now.
Yeah. Well, kind of two things. If they're not right there and you know you've come out of a meeting and you need a moment,
Mhm.
simply go for a walk.
Love it.
I mean, walking is the most therapeutic
Hmm.
and relaxing and registering, and you can reconcile a whole lot by a simple walk. Even if it's in the parking lot with a bunch of cars, there's at least one tree you can focus on. There's
Mhm.
some type of greenery you can focus on. You can step away and then come back, get regrouped and come back. Now, if it's someone that needs something right there, that's a skill set. It takes skill to serve at all levels, and it takes skill to serve in all uncomfortable, agitated positions that you may be in. It may be
Mhm.
a very volatile, need this now, just came out of a meeting. They gave you 15 things to do. There's someone standing at your desk, and that's another 10 things to do. That is a skill set to be able to maneuver in that, to be able to still be in character,
Mhm.
to speak as you would want to be spoken to be able to help that person along with helping yourself. It's a skill set. There's an organizational skill set. Then there's a communicative skill set. And then there's an actual doing skill set, knowing what really is an emergency. Do a quick assessment of that person.
Mhm.
Is this really an emergency? Ask the person, may I, can you give me 5 minutes, whatever way you want. It just depends on the culture of your office.
Mhm.
Listen to the person, listen attentively, and let them know, I got what you need. If you give me 10 or 15 minutes, I'm going to come right back around with this and I'm going to help you with this. And you can do that in the most pristine of character, because we're talking to executive assistants, we're talking to professional women, because
Exactly.
we're pristine in our character. So
Yes.
we don't fall apart. We're not 2-year-olds and 3-year-olds in the cubicles. We don't have Mickey Mouse posted all over the place, because if you have, whatever you see is what you will become.
Mhm.
So it takes skill and
Oh.
practice. So it's very important. You get back to your cubicle, you got Mickey Mouse all around. That's the mindset you're going to have. But if you got someone that you admire, not idolize, but admire
Mhm.
their character, their straightforwardness, the ability to communicate, to make someone feel like they are the most important person in your world right now. Even
Yeah.
if they need it, you treat them so good, they'll be like, yeah, you know what, I take 2 hours. Thank you so much. And walk off. So I know that was a lot, but that was a loaded question.
No, and that was like a loaded, gosh, that was a loaded answer, because here's the thing. I love it, because going back to your inner, dealing with the inner, this is something that, as you mentioned, if my inner peace and inner self is not together,
Yeah.
I can't do these kind of things. I remember when COVID first started, I wasn't, I had to, they sent us home, said, okay, you're going to work from home or whatever. And I said, okay. And I started trying to get myself prepared to do that and set my little space up.
Mhm.
Um, but as you were kind of going throughout the day, because I was at home, I was just like, if there was a lot of things going on, or virtual.
Yeah.
You're going from meetings 8 to 9 to 9 to 10 to 10 to 11 to 11.
Yeah.
You guys, please, can I just need to stand and stretch.
Right.
Um, that I would take a bubble bath on
Mm,
my lunchtime.
my goodness.
And it's funny
Wow.
because my kids, because we're all at home. So
Yeah,
my
yeah.
kids would come upstairs and they're like, and I'm in the tub, and I'm not talking about just a bubble bath. I'm talking about the over the bath, my drink, like my orange juice in a nice wine glass. You know
Yeah.
why? Just not
Yes.
a nice book that I could just,
Yep.
the lights down and the candles on so that it smelled real good. And it was like, this is my sanctuary for an
Yep.
hour.
Yep.
And then I'm gonna get out, and I would feel so refreshed. And
Wow.
so I love it, because it's that inner person that
Mhm.
I can't handle everything if I'm not handling me. One
Right.
piece that you hit was, whatever my environment is.
Yeah.
And I love the Mickey Mouse thing, looking at it as, this is for me. Because a
Yeah.
lot of times you'll hear it's your office space and what does your executive think? And so there's a lot of this, again, admins, you're doing everything for everyone else. And so it's, oh, my desk has to be clear because if my executive, but no, you
Yeah.
switched it on us, because you said it's not about your executive. It's it's where your headspace is going to be
Mhm.
depending on what your office looks like. So please, please dive in that a little bit,
Okay.
because I think we really need to hear that so we know, and I think too that sometimes um we can have a certain level that we want to be at, but
Uh-huh.
everyone surrounding us is a different, they're doing something different. And so
Mhm.
we do what they do, trying to fit in. But sometimes you got to be that trailblazer.
Yes.
So please hit your
Yeah.
office and desk space,
I
please.
always say sometimes it's okay to be rogue, you know. I find
Listen, it's
myself rogue a
okay.
lot and I just be like, well, yeah, this is how I'm cut up. But
Hmm.
um yeah, I really feel when it comes to that, because people can say, I'm an executive assistant, I'm executive this. To me, it's not so much a position.
Yes.
Being an executive, whatever's behind that, it's not so much a position, but it should be executive in your character. Executive assistant, executive, what have you. No, executive in your character first.
Mm-hmm.
And that is going to set the pace of those people on the other side of the cubicle
Hmm.
that may not be on that same page. It's not so much a title, oh, I'm the executive assistant, and or executive over grants or whatever it is, and I'm going to put up my name plaque. But guess what? If your character is jacked up and terrible, you might as well cross out the executive part and then go ahead and put up a lot of Disneyland pictures around your cubicle,
My.
because your person, just like you got yourself with that bubble bath, you got yourself in a state. That is a
Hmm.
state. That's attitude. People call it attitude, a state. Listen, inside of your cubicle is the state of how you are going to produce outside of it. That's like when you I don't mean to say no one's an animal or anything. That's like when I crate my dog. That is his spot. When he runs from me, he steals something, he's not feeling good, he gets in that crate. That's my space. I'm a whole nother person. I am in charge when I get in my crate. And I cannot get him out unless he comes out. But in your cubicle area, you have to set the state. And guess what? People will conform. The ones that won't conform, the ones, what we call a negative Nancy. Sorry, anybody named Nancy, we know they're going to fall away.
Yeah.
And then their voice will start to sound like Charlie Brown's parents. But
Wah, 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 wah.
powerful, yes, it will just bring everything down. But yeah,
I'll tell you one thing that you said, like, you have to make people kind of come to your wherever your level is, right?
yes.
So I had this particular position, and the previous person before me, they would um they would drop things off at their desk, and they would always, and this particular desk was the first desk that you came into before you spoke to everyone else,
Mhm.
right? And so and this had been for years. That previous person had this position for years, right? And so when I got there, and I remembered that because I had helped a lot in that area, and or in that department, whatever. And someone had mentioned that. I said, "Oh, yeah, that won't be happening while I'm here." And you see, I got a smile on my face.
Yeah.
And so what I did was, and the other thing was that they would reach over and grab pens and post-it notes and
Mhm.
things off that particular person's desk. Now I have this saying, personal space alert, personal space alert.
Yes.
I think, and this could just be me. I
No,
and
no.
spin shift, tell us, because it could just be me. I have an issue with people touching my desk and taking things off my desk. I
Yeah,
think it's very disrespectful. I
it is.
just
Yeah,
don't think that you should do that if you
yeah,
don't ask, right? And
right.
so I said, yeah, that won't be happening.
Yeah.
So what I did was I put a nice pen cup with beautiful pens in it, put
Mhm.
out some post-it notes because there was a ledge on top of my desk,
Got it.
and that helped them understand
Yeah.
without me saying anything. Because I want them to understand it's not like there's a new sheriff in town, but
Right,
this
right.
is just the way that and maybe the previous person was okay.
Yeah,
You touching their stuff. I'm not, though.
yeah.
I'm not. And exactly. And so Gina said, well, people feel it's community. Yeah, it's not.
Right. It's not, this is not a community
Mm,
spot. You know, we
no,
all, the supply cabinet down 2 cubicles to the left. Yeah, yeah,
exactly.
yeah,
Exactly. And
no.
I feel like you have to kind of put that. I almost want to say that's part of my self-care because I
Yeah.
would be so irritated. And
Oh,
and
definitely.
I actually like one person had walked by and threw their trash in my trash can past my pat on past my they had to walk like stand next to my chair and throw,
Uh-huh.
and I just thought, wow,
Yeah.
personal space alert. That's not okay. But there is a trash right across that's in
Mhm.
the kitchen area. You could more than likely just throw your stuff in
Yeah,
there. Not trying to be
yeah.
rude, just personal space.
Yeah, no, I know, and you wonder sometimes, like, the mindset of people, and
Mhm.
then that really shows how a person's, and I'll go even as far as to say their morals, because there is, even before the 6-foot thing,
Mhm.
there is an issue, a personal space issue. That's why it's a cubicle.
Yes.
That's that person's personal space.
Mhm.
And things, yes, you're absolutely right. That could irritate you and cause you to be off, because then now you're thinking, because you know what we think about will consistently come up quickly. You'll remember it the next day. Oh, here she comes. She bet not put stuff, don't put nothing in my garbage can. Now I'm gonna go get some saran wrap and cover the top of my garbage. You know, just all this type of stuff.
Right.
No, no, we're
Right.
not here for this. We are here to serve, because
Mhm.
my character is such that I was hired for this position.
Yeah.
I'm here to perform, and I don't need these menial things to disturb me. And
Mhm.
some people really don't. Their life is work. Their life is the cubicle. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, they don't realize that sometimes they can be causing the many lives around them not to be as as happy in the space with them. And then that's when you need to have, you know, a conversation. And that's what we don't want, especially in an executive situation or in any situation.
Yeah.
We can always see when someone, when hiring kind of went wrong. As a business owner, in when I began to hire people, right now I'm not in a position that I actually need. However, I would look for character first. I'm looking for, you can have
Mhm.
the best skill set. You can be the, you can govern just the, you can govern a gnat, a community of gnats, whatever it may be. But your character speaks for you. Your character is going to open doors for you. I'd rather hire someone with a pristine character, because guess what? I can train them.
Yes.
Train them to do what I want them to do. But
Yeah.
if you're coming with all this skill set, you're causing havoc in the office, doing, you know, minute and just irritating things like that. That's not a person that I would hire, because
Right.
I'm going to consistently have challenges with your character. Great, great work, but your character. Can I put you on a team? You know,
Mhm.
when the team starts saying, when your name is mentioned and the team says, oh yeah, no, no, not that person, we don't want that.
Mhm. Mhm.
Poor character can destroy contracts. It
Yes.
can destroy our partners.
Yeah.
As an executive out front, you are the face of whoever hired you, whatever company, whoever your boss is. So you
Mhm.
don't want to be that cubicle fly,
Mhm.
you know, just doing irritating things. You want to lead first by character, but that's only going to come from the inside out.
Right. And I love that too. And I know that, you know, as we like, let's say, that hasn't been, the focus, right?
Mhm.
Because we know that there are, as you mentioned, there are wrong hires. There are people that, and I've talked about it multiple times, people that have chosen this career for an
Mhm.
admin or executive assistant. Just, I'm going to be a career admin, which is perfectly fine. And we support that. at Cubicle Connections and want to build that, right?
Yeah.
And then there's others that have fell into this role, was looking for a job, jumped into and like, oh, okay, well, an admin, sure, no problem. But then I want to do more, right?
Mhm.
Um, and so if character, as we mentioned, how character is so important, if that has not been, you know, a focus point for
Mhm.
anyone listening, then how would you turn that around? Because you know, when you have a bad reputation, I mean, it's an uphill battle to turn
Yeah.
it around. But how would you turn that around to start developing yourself? And I know we're jumping into number three, but anyways, but how would you turn that around to start developing yourself so that you can, you know, strengthen that inner person and also change what the perception of you is, because previously your focus hasn't been your character and now you need to focus on it because you're listening to Angela and you hear that you need to focus.
I'm so glad you asked. Look, I have some notes. You dove right into my notes. So listen, how can you turn that around? It starts from the inside. I think what we don't do, I wanna give this first step. And this first step is so critical. How can you turn a poor character around? First, acknowledge that you need help.
Mhm,
Acknowledge that some of your ways are not okay.
mhm,
You know, your cubicle buddies or the people in the office that you've known that are probably like-minded say you're perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with you. It's them. No, those are the ones you need to move away from. And
yeah,
you really need to get quiet and really, really take an assessment of yourself and acknowledge your ways. Listen to your people that don't work with you. Listen to people. It could be a sibling, it could be a parent, it could be a neighbor, it could be a good friend. Listen to those things and acknowledge them. I would say here's a couple things where you can start to shift that because it's going to start internally. Mastering your morning and your night.
mm,
Self care is going to lead you to good character because when we do not care for ourselves, we are off balance. We are out of alignment chemically, emotionally,
mhm,
physically. We can either don't eat the right things and lose too much weight, lose
mhm,
muscle, lose stamina, or we can overeat, coming home frustrated, having meetings back to back to back. And then you're irritated, you're crabby, you're being snappy at people. You're not finishing your projects or half doing your projects.
mhm,
Projects have to keep coming back to you to get corrected. And you're irritated about that. You could start thinking, oh, they're just targeting me. But no, you're off balance. You're out of
mhm,
alignment. So your morning and your night has to be a focus. Getting up in the morning to master your mornings, number one, starting with gratitude. And yes, this is
mhm,
leading into character correction.
mhm,
Gratitude. Start with gratitude. Your mornings are extremely important. Okay, now for the moms that are sitting there saying, but I got 3 kids, I got 4 kids, the baby gets up, the baby gets having an intention, setting a plan. I am going to set aside an hour a morning, even if I have to get up at 4, if I
mhm,
have to get up at 3:30, I am going to get up and I'm going to have a gratitude session and I'm going to plan my day, just sitting quietly, having a spiritual vision,
mhm,
your morals. You have to have a spiritual vision for yourself, your beliefs, taking a assessment of your beliefs and
mhm,
listening to yourself, thinking about your day, thinking about how it's going to be, how you want it to be. Think about your character from the day before when you were irritated, agitated, what led you there?
mhm,
Literally taking the time out to do these things, to relax, to, if you can, go out and sit in the sunshine or sit on your front porch or your lawn chairs in the back It is very, very important that you bring yourself into a place, a state that is going to help you improve your character. Again, number one is acknowledging. You got to know when you're off, when you're irritated, you're constantly arguing with people, you got to back it up.
Mm-hmm.
You got to say, you know what? I got to change some things. Because in the morning, you get up, you're running, you jump out, you're late, coffee, kids, dog, speeding, beep, beep, all you're taking all that to work and you're showing up.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to work for your character. Then at night, debriefing. That's huge. Debriefing, being honest with yourself. I was a jerk today. I should not have said that. And again, gratitude.
Mm-hmm.
Gratitude. Plan out your day. Everyone should have a planner. And I mean
Mm-hmm.
planning it out from 2 o'clock to 3 o'clock, from 3:30 to 4, from 5 to 6. These are the things. It's so I love to tell people to choose 6 things that you know you need to accomplish the next day.
Mm-hmm.
Go for those 6 things. If you don't get all 6, don't go add a whole nother 6. If you did 4 of them, that's fine. Now you have what? 2 left. You add
Mm-hmm.
another 4 to it. But at night, debriefing, being honest and deal with your character, write it out. I was a jerk today. I was nasty. I was nice, nasty.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you have to be honest. That is how you correct character. Then, when you get back to the office, you apologize. Hmm.
Do you have a mic that you can drop?
That's
Oh,
called
gosh.
course correction. No one needs to tell you to do that.
Yeah.
You go and you clearly say, I offended you
Yeah.
and I apologize. And you wait. You may get a good answer and you may not, but it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then you go on with your day. And guess what? People will start noticing. Their eyebrow will start going up.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, she's nice now. I wonder what's going on. I think she got a boyfriend. You know how they say.
Right. Right.
What's going on? Is she okay? Are you okay? And guess that's how you character change has to start from within.
Mm-hmm.
To acknowledge. You have to acknowledge it's not your skill set that is going to launch you forward. It is not. It's going to be your character. You have to deal with the inside of you. And here's another thing that happens. Your boss could remind you of someone that hurt you.
Mm-hmm.
Could have the same mannerism, not the same person. Could sound like something that hurt you or someone that hurt you. And guess what? Because you formed that memory of that event because it was a hard, traumatic event, even if someone cut you off, you get scared.
Mm-hmm.
That immediate shock turns into a memory. So you can see that looks like that person that cut me off. Now you work with them. And guess what? You're going to operate with that person from that memory of that event. That person has no idea what's going on,
Yeah.
but you're engaging with them in a way you engaged with the person that they remind you of, the event that happens. All of that needs to be cleaned up if you want to um, really, really perform as an executive assistant.
Right.
Because this is a very critical place. I don't know if people really understand how critical this position is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very critical.
Yeah. And I'm finding that people don't. They don't understand. I love that you said, it could be, you could be seeing your boss or people that you work with as people that you've had experiences with.
Mhm.
And that's so very That's like, if you guys are listening, make sure you write that down, because there's so many male and female and male, so if you have, basically what she's saying, if you didn't understand, is if you have an issue with your father, if you have an issue with, your husband, and you're a female, you may take that out on your, as they say, work husbands, which I don't believe in.
Yeah.
But anyways, that's another show. But that you may take it out on them, or you may, or if it's the other way around, and you are, a male admin, and you have a female, executive, and you don't like listening to females because of the way you've been taught, or if they tell you something, it triggers something from the way your mother talked to you, or your wife talked to you, and so I love that, and I love that where this is all going is it's saying our skill set cannot mask all of this. It doesn't matter what you're able to do. It all comes down to character. And if
Yeah.
you build your character, it's almost like, even as we have like training and development and, things like that, opportunities to learn different things. It's like, have you dealt with that character? Because, it's the foundation. And if we haven't dealt with that, then you're going to crash sooner or later. If it doesn't happen down here, it's going to
Mhm.
happen. Unfortunately, sometimes it happens when you're in the limelight.
Yeah.
And now everyone's able to see it. So it's better to work on yourself when no one knows you.
Right. In your cubicle is better. And it has to be a plan, because
Mhm.
self-care is a lifestyle. And
Yeah.
it's not, as we talked about in the beginning, it's not about shopping.
Yeah.
It's not about cloaking.
Hmm.
It's not about um, masking and I'm doing this to cover up this.
Right.
One thing you said was really, really key. Knowing when you sit down for that interview, can you deal with a female boss?
Hmm.
Can you serve a male boss?
Hmm.
Those things are very important, not the money, not the change. No, it cannot be, because you'll end up masking.
Yeah.
And whatever addictions you have, if you don't handle your self care, when you get frustrated, those addictions will come out.
Yeah.
So then, oh, every single day I get home, I got to have a glass of wine.
Hmm.
It's a problem. Every day I get home, I have to stop off and have a drink.
Right.
Every day I get home, I have to stop by the store and buy something. I
Hmm.
have to buy another pair of shoes. I have to buy another piece of clothing. It always is something besides dealing with really what was your trigger for today.
Yeah.
If you're frustrated, learn self care, turning it into you. Yes, guess what? Every single day, I'm going to take, as you did, a full hour for myself. Not to
Hmm.
go buy something, not to
Right.
go eat something, a full hour.
Hmm.
Even if you are just sitting in solitude, journaling, being thankful, being grateful, getting quiet,
Hmm.
debriefing yourself. That's a tool and that's a tip. A lot of times we don't do it. Well, I have this and I have this, and I'm picking up the kids and I'm this. I was a single mom with a household, with a full-time job. I had 3 children, 3 different grades, and at one time, 3 different schools,
Wow.
and commuting to work. So it can be done, as you
Hmm.
did. You went into the bathroom. Yeah,
Hmm.
you'll get the fingers under the door. I used to get the fingers under. You still in there? Yes, I'm still in there. Whatever you have to do. I would go sit in the car and just get quiet. Lunchtime, if I needed to, I would remove myself. And that's another good thing. Try your best to remove yourself from your environment on your
Hmm.
breaks and on your lunchtime, even working from home. Get up, get circulated. If you're working from home, I don't know, walk to the end of your block and walk back. Remove yourself from your environment and then come back to it.
Yeah.
That is going to help you immensely. And I have a note here. I said, every mind response has a physical response. So
Mm-hmm.
we have to remember that. If you are getting ready to do a presentation, you're setting up the presentation, whatever you're thinking at that moment, if you like what's going on, someone just said something rude to you, the technology is not working, believe me, that mind response, people will see it on you physically. So that's why sometimes you could be in work mode or doing something and people will be like, "You okay?" And you'll be like, "Yeah, I'm fine." Like, what they talking about? Mm-mm. It came out
Yeah.
because we're connected together as humans. We're wired to love. We're wired, regardless of how people, leave me alone, leave me alone. We're wired. We feel each other.
Mm-hmm.
So your state, your character, all of that is a plus for any organization. I promise you, if you step up your game with your character, and I'm not talking about kissing up and this and, I'm just trying to get there and trying to get you. No, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about being able to handle pressure,
Yeah.
under pressure. And I'm talking about not being the person giving the pressure,
Right.
not being the one causing the problem, but
Right.
being able to handle things in a very pristine way. You are a jewel, you are gold to any agency. And
Mm-hmm.
that's when you can walk into the office humbly with your pristine character and sit down and let that office know how much of an asset you are to them and ask them for a raise. Yes.
Everybody on the call wants to hear that piece.
Yes and yes.
Mhm.
Oh, yes. Okay, yeah. Oh, and by the way, ask for that raise. There you
Mhm.
go. Yeah, but you
Mhm.
can't do that terrible character because
Exactly.
people, that's when people, when you see that your position has been outsourced, that you should be concerned.
Gina said all over.
Right. Oh, I
Exactly.
used to do that project. I used to do that yeah,
Mhm.
be concerned.
Right, exactly. And I think too that's great because one of the questions I wanted to ask too is how you feel that value and perception of value falls into self care because it is that I mean something simple like Gina said, oh yeah, all over it, right? So she's ready, but others can be, oh, I could never ask, and how do you deal with that? Like, is value a part of self care? Do you believe that it
It
is?
is. It is. Value is a part of self-care and it comes from confidence and it's not an arrogance.
Mm-hmm.
We teach our children to be confident. We get taught confidence enough to climb up the stairs of the slide
Mm-hmm.
and then we look for that nod from our parent. You can do it. You can slide on down. And when they get finished from that slide, they come down and they pop up. Let's do it again. It's
Mm-hmm.
a smaller form of confidence, but it completely builds. There's nothing wrong with confidence. There's gold in confidence. Directors and managers, they look for an executive that's confident. I don't care if you are shaking and buckling in your knees.
Mm-hmm.
You need to show forth this confidence, and then you'll start believing in your own self.
Yeah.
So your morals, your confidence, your values, it has to come from the inside.
Yeah.
Some of us have been taught some things that were not okay. So they can say, well, I struggle in this area. That's a part of self-care. Start shedding those things.
Mhm.
Start being highly alert of your thought patterns and what's going on here so that you can step up in confidence, step up in self-value. And again, it's not an arrogance, knowing your worth,
Yeah.
loving yourself enough to step away, to take care of yourself. That's a part of self-value. Yeah.
Yes. If you're watching the replay, these are so many just good. We told you that if you came, you would have tools that you could use immediately. I mean, and if you have been listening even for a few moments,
Mhm.
I encourage you to go back and listen to the entire thing and really like replay it over and over again,
Yeah.
for yourself, so that there's so many pieces here. Like, Angela, this has been amazing, beyond expectations, but I knew you were going to knock it out the box. I knew you were. So
Listen.
please tell everybody where they can find you, because there's no one, I can't see anyone listening to this and saying, I don't want to hear from her again. Yes, you do. And you need to know where to find her. So where can they find you on social media, on the internet? Where can they find you?
Okay, you can find me on all social, well, not all, I'm not on all social media, a little too much, but on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram, it's
Mhm.
Angela D. Holmes, and that's D as in delightful. There are so many Angela Holmes out there. I actually met one. It's just funny. So it's Angela D. Holmes. You can find me, and I also have a business page, which is under Angela D. Holmes. You can contact me at info@angeladholmes.com. And you can go ahead and sign up for my email list on angeladholmes.com, which it is under construction right now. And you'll be next in line to hear about all the great things that we are doing. I love empowering and building women. It's what I do. It's what I love. It's what I'm so passionate about it. It's because when women are built, our children are built. Our
Yes.
families are built. Husbands are happier
Yes.
because their wives are stronger, they're confident, and it becomes a different woman in the house with him. I
Mhm.
love building women. I love seeing women have aha moments.
Mhm.
Women who have struggled in areas that so many women do, with feeling inadequate and having maybe made mistakes in their lives, or had so many things done to them that they feel small and beat down. But I teach them how to take all of that, as I say, take every brick thrown your way and build a house with it.
Come on now. Come
So
on.
that's what I love to do. I love to build women, and it's just a passionate for me. It's very, very passionate for me. And what we do with a rising woman, it's exactly what we do. We take the inner city women that
Mhm.
have jewels and goals. There's so many executive assistants that are hidden jewels in the
Mhm.
communities that may not have the social economic ability to learn skills. We go
Mhm.
in and we teach them these executive assistant skills and how to care for themselves and for their family, turn around, build their own economy, and walk in strength. So I'm honored to be here today. I really appreciate it, and thank you for your reaching out to me. It is truly, truly an honor, and I love what you do. Cubicle Connections is the place to be, to learn what you need to learn. When I know shortly I will be looking for an assistant, and I'm definitely
Mhm.
going to reach out to Cubicle Connections for some referrals, because
Mhm.
it's a very critical thing. You want someone on your team that you can trust, because your team has to represent you,
Yes. Yes.
has to represent you. You know, for some people don't they don't like this movie, but I think I've watched it at least 10 times. The Devil Wears Prada.
That's my favorite movie.
Ooh, that's my movie. I mean,
Mhm.
every assistant needs to watch that movie.
Yeah.
It's so much good, and it's so much don't do, and it's so much do in it.
Yes.
It's like, you have to watch that movie. But
Mhm.
it's been a pleasure and an honor, and just shout out to everyone that is has tuned in. Truly appreciate you chiming in. If you have any questions, DM me. I will hit you back.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. And I have put all of your ats and .coms and everything into the chat, because you guys really stay connected. What you've heard is just a small piece. And I just want to thank you so much for even taking the time. You know, you are a very busy woman, and this has been just I'm going to rewatch it over and over again, because I absolutely love it. So I want to also take the time to let you all know, because today is the second day of Administrative Professionals Week. Tomorrow is the actual day of Administrative Professionals Day. So I am super duper excited about that. And tomorrow we are having a 2-hour
Whoa.
session that talks about developing you. So if you thought day one was great, day two has been amazing, day three is about to just knock it over. You're going to be so full after the 3 days that you'll have to just keep watching the replays, because you have to get it all and just digest it all. So tomorrow is going to be amazing. I am going to have a very special guest on tomorrow, and I will be sharing that. So make sure you stay looking at the, Instagram and Facebook. And I know a lot of us admins are on Facebook, but come on over to Instagram and see what's happening over there.
Yeah.
Now, I did say we were going to have some free giveaways. Oh, and also let me let you know, tomorrow, we're going to just have a Facebook Live. You know why? Because I don't want to have a private Zoom. I want, everything to be out there so that everyone can have it. So we're going to do a Facebook Live. But here's the thing. I said there were giveaways. And so I see that I want you to put your name in the chat for whoever is here right now, because when I see your name, I have something that I want to give out. So go ahead and put your name in the chat, and then I'm going to give out. And we only have a few minutes, so I got to see it quick. Start typing really quick. But what I want to do is Cubicle Connections will be releasing a planner. So I love that you said you got to have a planner, because you do. So Cubicle Connections has been putting into up, and I see it. So Gina, you are going to be the winner of a new 2023 planner. So that's going to prepare you all the way through. It will start out from June to December of 2023. So you will be getting, and Irene, and you know what, Irene? And Irene, I'm going to send you one, because Irene is very special to me. And I'm going to send you one, Irene. Irene has been rolling with Cubicle Connections for some time now. And Irene is actually, I think right now, well, it's 3 p.m., but Irene is in Canada. So I love Irene. And so Irene and Gina, I'm going to gift you with the 2022-2023 Cubicle Connections Planner. And so I will be sending that out to you and reaching out to you all so that you can get it. So I told you guys watching the, don't cry, but it's okay. You are very, very special to me. So I want to make sure that you guys get it. So I'll be reaching out to you so that I can get all of, addresses and things like that, and get you guys all set up. But, again, I want to appreciate everyone for joining. If you're watching the replay, appreciate you. And listen, do not forget about tomorrow. 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, we are going to be doing a session about developing you. And stay close to the pages so I can let you know who that guest speaker is, because I'm going to drop it on you real quick. And thank you guys so much for joining. Thank you so much, Angela, for being a part. And I cannot wait to connect with you guys tomorrow. So have a great day. Talk to you guys later.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.